and welcome to World Stories. I'm Sumi Somaskanda, and this is your International Reporters Magazine. Each week, we take you on a journey around the world. This time, we're heading from Iraq to Mexico and Bulgaria, so buckle up and enjoy. Iraq's economy has struggled to rebuild itself after decades of war and turmoil. The country has long relied on its vast oil reserves to keep the economy running, and it still does. Iraq is the second largest producer of crude oil in the world. But the majority of that oil wealth hasn't trickled down to average Iraqis. Though some progress has been made, the poverty level is still high, nearly 23% according to the World Bank. But what if that could be changed from the bottom up? In our next story, UNTV's Mary Ferreira introduces us to an initiative that's teaching important job skills and transforming communities along the way.
Madena Saleh is proud of her sewing business near Erbil, northern Iraq. With her 3 daughters, she makes dresses for most of the women in the village. Ahmed Hassan runs a successful welding business and is now equipped to train his son, Bistan, with his newly honed skills. Madena and Ahmed are among the millions struggling to survive in post-war Iraq.
I was a jobless housewife in poor circumstances and had no way to improve my life.
For years, I was working part-time as a construction worker. We were very poor.
Devastated by the war, northern Iraq is one of the country's poorest regions. Unemployment is high and poverty is rampant. To help generate jobs and growth, the UN Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, launched a new program aiming for a grassroots recovery. With funds from the European Union, UNIDO and the UN Food and Agriculture Organization work together to rehabilitate training centers near where vulnerable communities live. Training focuses on teaching people technical and business skills, marketing and entrepreneurship, the basics of business. Ahmed, once a construction worker struggling to make a living, signed up for a welding course.
That helped me learn a lot about welding and steel fabrication. After that, UNIDO supported me with toolkits for welding machines and a blowtorch. I set up the workshop. It's going well. I get customers because I'm the only blacksmith in the village.
Ahmed can now handle just about any metal working job. On a good day, he can earn over $50. And that goes quite far here. And the entire community is benefiting from his success. Now businessmen like Ahmed can offer jobs to others. Madena too, who took up dressmaking, is now a much sought-after seamstress in her village.
People in Erbil know about my dressmaking, and customers come to me, especially to make Kurdish clothes for women in the latest styles.
Today, 9 out of 10 trained under the program are employed. Iraq needs more projects like these to recover its economy, says Sirwan Jamil of UNIDO.
Especially in village area, to start with their own job to sustain their life and to their economy.
And with the success of entrepreneurs like Madena and Ahmed, the nation is one step closer to achieving bottom-up economic revival.
A revival that Iraq sorely needs. Now, Turkey has one of the world's fastest-growing energy markets. As the country's economy grows and the population expands, the demand for electricity and natural gas is soaring, and there's no turning back. Because most of Turkey's energy still comes from abroad, officials are working on ways to boost the domestic supply, including big investments in renewable sources. That means clean energy and more jobs for Turkey. In our next story, reporter Wolfgang Bernard shows us how one wind farm is breathing fresh life into local towns and villages.
Ekrem Zebek has turned his day job into a hobby. He has 2 hectares of land and used to work as a farmer, but he couldn't earn enough to feed his family. Now he's employed in the energy industry and only works the land in his free time.
My wife and my 8-year-old son were even happier than I was. They used to have to help me with the farming. But now that I earn enough money, they no longer need to work.
Zebek's fields lie right next to the wind farm. 18 wind turbines now stand on the hill overlooking his home village. It's one of the first wind farms in Turkey. The turbines produce enough power to supply 11,000 households. Ekrem Zebek guards the turbines, looks after the dogs, and takes care of any guests that come. His earnings aren't too bad either. 1,260 Turkish lira, nearly twice as much as the legal minimum wage in Turkey. He gets to stay on the ground, but his colleagues work 64 meters up in the air.
The turbines have to be serviced every 3 months. We have to lubricate the bearings and make sure everything's okay. It's quite nerve-wracking and gets the adrenaline going.
They too are local residents. They were trained here for the job. The wind farm is operated by the Turkish power supplier Polat Energy. The CEO is currently showing a climate activist around the plant. He's interested not only in making a profit in the short term, but also in winning support for wind energy among the local population. Alternative energy forms, he says, are the future.
It is not like losing money, to train these people, to train the children, to support schools for such renewable activities, because in the future it's going to bring us revenues for sure, because these people, they're going to ask for more wind, for more solar energy, for more renewable energies. So this is why it's also important for us.
The company is supported by a non-profit foundation called My Climate. It buys carbon certificates from the wind farm and sells them on to people wanting to voluntarily offset their carbon footprint. For example, someone flying from Istanbul to Zurich can offset the environmental pollution for €20.
I think we help the world to be a better place, because it's not only offsetting we do. We also help people to better their lives.
The wind farm has also brought change to the village of Cevisli at the foot of the hill. A few of the 120 villagers have found work at the plant, and the company has also paid for the local mosque to be repainted and have new windows put in. At the beginning, the wind turbines triggered heated debate among the local community. But that's now a thing of the past.
When there's a lot of wind, we can hear the turbines down here. But no one complains about that. There are no complaints about the wind farm at all.
It would actually be better if we had more wind turbines. If we had more space, I'd be happy for them to set up more wind farms. It's for a good cause and no problem at all.
Back up on the hill, Ekrem Zebek is drinking his last glass of tea before going home. The plant employs 12 men in all. They're just happy to have a secure job. They're not necessarily so concerned about climate certificates or carbon emissions.
My life and my family's life have changed completely. But I don't use more or less electricity than before.
But at least the electricity he does use is now being produced in an environmentally friendly way. And Turkey has plenty more room for more wind farms.
Well, from winds of change in Turkey over to Mexico City. Each year, the city hosts the Festival of Cultural Friendship, a celebration of languages, ethnicities, and cultures from around the world. Representatives from dozens of countries host pavilions that showcase the best of their nations. A feast for the eyes, ears, and taste buds. Reporter Jorge Barajas from Capital 21 shows us how the festival showcases global diversity, one voice at a time.
I'm from Egypt, from Cairo.
I'm from Japan.
The British Embassy.
I'm from Cameroon.
Haiti.
Ivory Coast.
South Korea.
Russia.
Finland.
Greece.
China.
France.
The Mexicans know their culture.
Presenting the cultures of lots of countries. Living together. Cultural exchange.
It's a great thing to do.
It's about sharing.
It's been a success.
It was a fantastic event. The greatest fair you can imagine.
I'm from Guerrero.
Mexico City.
Sweden.
I really liked Saudi Arabia and Egypt.
Haiti was my favorite.
I liked Vietnam.
Saudi Arabia.
Peru.
India.
Egypt.
The Arab countries.
The Asian countries.
Congo and Egypt.
I like Egypt.
Africa, Greece.
All the countries were interesting.
The Festival of Cultural Friendship took place in Mexico City's historic Paseo de la Reforma Avenue. The colorful event adopted the city's independence angel as its symbol. It represents the ties of friendship and brotherhood that unite Mexico with other countries in the world. 73 countries took part, 12 more than the previous year. The goal of the annual event is to encourage cultural diversity and give the local economy a boost. The highlight of the festival was a carnival parade featuring dozens of different countries, all showcasing their national costumes and traditions. There were many proud displays of traditional song and dance. The participating countries included Greece and the UK. Latin America was also represented, as was Africa and the Caribbean. There was truly something for everyone at the Festival of Cultural Friendship. The participating groups spared no expense in putting their lavish costumes together. Even the tiniest revelers were fittingly attired. Around 1.5 million people came to sample the festival's diverse treats. Visitors perused books and snapped up handicrafts and souvenirs. Those who like it spicy were in their element. Dozens of countries had stands with all kinds of things to look at, touch, and sample. How about an Egyptian table ornament? Or a Panama hat? Even the Fab Four were there. And the younger generation weren't to be left out. There was musical entertainment as well, from vocal ensembles to solo instrumental shows. The concerts were a big hit with audiences. The themes of this year's festivities were diversity and harmony. There was no stopping the revelers. The performances and the parade went on until late into the evening. The festival's growth proves that celebrating diversity is not only lots of fun. Investing in culture can also improve the local economy and open the door to international markets.
That's definitely a festival to visit. On to our next story now. Waste is something we generate at home, at work, and on the road. Shops and businesses produce plenty of waste too. In an office store, it's paper. In a restaurant, it's scraps of food. But what about in a jewelry workshop? They definitely don't throw out valuable gems or silver, but there can be traces of those commodities on the floor or in the trash can. In our next story, we visit a region of Bangladesh where locals process garbage from jewelry workshops to get precious metals. But as ETV reporter Sakawat Liton tells us, all that glitters isn't always gold.
An old Bengali proverb reads, "Where there is ash, there may be coal lying beneath." Or in other words, one man's trash could be another man's treasure. Some locals have taken the proverb to heart. They collect trash and ash in hopes of finding gold and silver. We met up with some in Bejpara in the Jessore district. Many here earn their living collecting trash from jewelry shops in the hopes of striking it rich with what others throw away. They've become known as Bepari.
We have a contract with some jewelry shops in the Khulna district. We have to pay them in advance. They renew the contract at the beginning of the Bengali New Year. We collect trash and waste from making ornaments and smelting pots.
They come at the end of the month and collect workshop trash. They take the dust and other items from the shop, and then they process them somehow.
We collect the waste from the jewelry workshops. We take their mats, the gum they use for making ornaments, the bowls for melting gold, etc. Besides these, we also take the materials left over from making ornaments.
At least 25 to 30 people in this area are currently making a living collecting and processing jewelers' trash.
I learned this trade from my family. My uncles were the first people to do it. Then my father and his family got into it. I learned from them.
We use one kind of gum to cut the designs into the gold. Gold dust sticks to the gum. It's not possible for us to recover it. So we let the Bepari do that.
After burning the waste they collect, they mix the ash with water and dirt. They dry the mixture in the sun. Then they burn it again. The resulting hard substance is broken up into small pieces. Eventually, it becomes dust again. Searching for precious metals in the mixture is a time-consuming process. The dust is mixed with borax, which helps melt any gold or silver.
At first it was hard to find the gold in the dust, but now it's easier. It used to take 8 to 10 days, but now we can get it done in one.
A special coal-fired furnace is used to melt the gold. The mass is mixed with lead, which absorbs impurities from the gold. Then logs are used to absorb the melted lead. The waste processors monitor the whole process and control the heat.
The trash is bought from the jewelry shops. Then I wash it and dry it like this. After drying, it must be burned and then melted in the furnace.
After the extensive process, what's left is a mixture of gold and silver. Acid is used to help free the mass from the remains in the oven. It's a hard grind to find what often amounts to very small quantities. There's no guarantee that the processors will find enough precious metal to break even.
It's risky work. They have to buy the dust with cash. It might cost 10,000 taka. If they don't find much gold, that's lost money. And it happens a lot.
Somehow we managed to go on. It's not very profitable anymore.
It's a tough job, but those who do it say it's worth the effort. Their livelihoods depend on the proceeds, however meager. For them, finding gold in trash is almost like finding buried treasure. But it's becoming harder to make a living recycling waste, and many are struggling to get by. The Bapari help recycle the country's mineral wealth, but their way of life may soon fall by the wayside.
Our final story of the day takes us back in time. Bulgaria was under the Ottoman Empire's rule for nearly 500 years. And in that time, Bulgarians staged several uprisings to try and throw off their rulers. Many of the revolts failed. That is, until the April Uprising, a grassroots insurrection in 1876 that helped pave the way for a new Bulgaria. In our next story, we visit a town in the heart of the country that's known for its important role in the April Uprising. And as Blagoy Bagriev of Nova TV shows us, their heroism is still remembered and reenacted today.
The residents of the town of Klizura are reenacting the town's dramatic history. It's a way of paying respect to their forefathers. 137 years ago, during the April Uprising, men, women, and children in the town revolted against Ottoman rule, hoping to win freedom. The rebellion was quickly crushed by some 2,000 soldiers who razed the town to the ground.
Klizura fought back. There were victims here. More than 400 people died. Everything was set on fire and burnt to the ground. But it wasn't just a coincidence that it was Klizura and that Russia came to the town's defense.
It's believed someone in the town leaked the plans for the rebellion before it started, ruining any chance the townspeople had of defeating the soldiers and freeing themselves from Ottoman rule. One of the uprising's leading characters was Borimechkata. His name means man who fights with bears. Fireman Stefan Jeliaskov is portraying him in the reenactment. He hopes the event will encourage young people to learn about the heroism exhibited by their forefathers in Klizura.
Anna Kozinarova threw her kids in the well and then threw herself in after them. Few people know that. I admire Kocho too, who killed his wife, kids and himself so they wouldn't be captured by Ottoman soldiers. But throwing 4 children in the well, that's mind-boggling. Some people say the whole thing was a local brawl and not an uprising, but that's not true.
Many of Klizura's young people have gone to live abroad, so volunteers from other cities are helping out with the event.
This is the first time I've participated in a reenactment. I'm proud to play the role of Stoika, Borimechkata's wife. It's very exciting. I feel incredible. These events have to be celebrated, to be remembered.
2 men from the Netherlands are also taking part this year. Dressed in rebels' clothing, they fought against the Ottoman army.
For us it was very special to be here and to participate in this whole event. It was very, very nice, very nice. I liked it very much.
And we are proud to help the Bulgarian.
Yes, of course.
The reenactment takes place every year, reminding Klizura and the surrounding towns of the battle that took place here over a century ago.
And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of World Stories. From all of us here and our partner stations around the world, thanks for watching. And don't forget to watch this show again. Head to our website at dw.de/worldstories. We'll leave you with this week's Picks of the World. See you next time.